All right, it's that time again, isn't it, where we talk about what it's like being the most persecuted person in the world, at least as it relates to soft power. And when I say I live behind enemy lines, I assure you can appreciate what I mean by now. As you see, there is literally no limit to the amount of persecution that I'm being subjected to. And it's conducted by the government and the Danish intelligence agency and its national broadcasting TV and radio service, Denmark's radio, and a huge swath of the population who are continuously and relentlessly subjecting me to all kinds of social and political persecutions. And you can see it's increasing in outrageousness, and the illegalities that they are committing towards me are on a rampant increase. And it's not just me who they are running psychological warfare, aka PSYOPs, against. It's also the people, as we saw here on the 14th of February 2023 on Tuesday at my training, where the government had fabricated a propaganda narrative, or PSYOP, in which they proclaimed that I was going to do something to someone, and I was even going to get help doing so. So everybody at my training center were on high alert, watching me like a hawk and expecting something to kick off, while in fact it was just the government that had created a completely fictitious narrative that had nothing in it whatsoever, but they were just running a PSYOP to see how people would react. And obviously they hoped that that would spill over and someone would do something to me to hurt me, and thereby end my training that way by some kind of physical altercation outside the ring. And that's kind of what they were trying to achieve by creating a completely fictitious story. I know very little about it. I only know what I have just stated here. So this is another example of them trying to sabotage my training, and it is obviously because they don't want me, Stephen Bell, to be out amongst the people. They want me to stay at home and at all times. So when they endlessly accuse me of every despicable thing known to man under the sun, that my actual presence and what I say and what I do doesn't influence the PSYOP that they are constantly waging, literally accusing me of everything under the sun, as I say, while it's them who are conducting a completely illegal persecution against me. And the more the persecution of me increases, the badder they need to make me look. So literally I'm being accused of every despicable thing known to man, and we have been through the same proclaimed accusations again and again and again, none of which are actual cases. It's just something that the government is saying, and it is becoming more and more apparent how they are just lying through their teeth. And it's blatantly obviously by now, and not just as it relates to the program and me, Stephen Bell, government and intelligence agencies, they cannot be trusted anymore, and it's just glaringly obvious. For example, they also want to commandeer and coerce people to participate in the active measures that are being waged against me, where they constantly are plotting and encouraging other people to plot against me, for me to be sectioned to a mental institution, or be locked up in prison, or have people hurt me. And they're constantly trying to incite the things that I have mentioned here. And when they're not commandeering and coercing people through this real-time communication system, aka synthetic telepathy, they are also using the same system to conduct electronic harassment towards anybody and everybody who find themselves even remotely in my vicinity, and just with the sole intent to blame me for these electronic harassment of people who are in my vicinity. And when it's not commandeering people or sexually harassing anybody, then they are running their propaganda obviously always trying to frame the situation as I'm the baddie that everybody needs to hate, while I'm not even doing anything wrong. And it's just day in and day out, year after year, they are just coming after me in every way, shape and form that you could ever imagine. And they are doing exactly the same to my small business, which is also quite successful, and they really want to stop that. So they are just making as many lies as they are against me personally, they are making against my small business, claiming all kinds of preposterousness about the things that I have for sale and about my skills, and just flagrantly lying about everything. And it just goes to show how this program is designed to normalize all of these things that are going on, predominantly towards me, but gradually as well are moving more and more against the public at large. So the target individual aspects of what is going on against me is also being normalized, being used against others who the governments and intelligence agencies find to be a problem. And that can be anybody who they consider are not following their propaganda to a good enough extent, or who are not following their orders, or who are not believing what government says in general. Anybody can become a victim of the government and this program.